Hi guys, good morning to you. So what I'm going to do is actually focus on a very recent story done by a colleague and friend, Steve Kretzmann, as part of a series, an ongoing series that Ground Up is doing in the run-up to the elections. And in this, he actually visited the town of Witzenberg, and not the town, the municipality in Witzenberg, which is made up of several towns, including Tulbach, Ceres, I think it's Prince Alfred. It's five different towns, but the administrative center lies in Ceres. Now, when you look at them on paper, this looks like a really well-run, great municipality. And in fact, it's only one of 27 that got a clean audit, and the Auditor General raved about them in the latest audits. And it's the old story, the data tells you where to look, but the data is like any source. You need to actually go there and check against the data. And what he found is, I would say, a clean record going back over 8 years. And what he found is in the different towns, different experiences were happening. Ceres, for example, the administrative center was fantastic. It was being well looked after. Other towns, people were complaining about services. Now, if you want to see where the services are really bad, go to the poor areas. Go particularly to where the ruling party's people are living, the party that's running it. So for example, I live in Cape Town, and I live in the southern suburbs. Our roads are smooth, they're tarred, they're everything. Go down the road to some of the townships and it tells a different story. Now, before I go there, so what I found, there's sewage overflowing. So very often when there's problems, you're going to find them in the townships. You're not going to find them in the city centers. So there's open sewers running into the streets in the Nduli township, just 2 kilometers from Ceres, which everyone raves about how fantastic, and there it is. But this is the paragraph that I do want to point you to. Financial health. And I will drop this story in the chat for you guys to look about it. Some very interesting links. It's got a relatively healthy cash balance of 94 million rand at the end of the municipal year. By the way, the municipal elections and the municipal financial year is out of step with province, and it's out of step with national, and it makes no sense for them to be like this. They having to budget, and municipalities having budget before they've ended their financial year. So the expenditure of 96% of his capital budget reveals good budget management, although an 8.6 under expenditure of his operational budget was less impressive. So I'm going to show you where to find all this kind of stuff for your own towns, and particularly community. It's very hard with the big metros and municipalities with multiple towns, because what you're getting is an overall picture. You're not able to zoom in on what's going on in a particular area. Two points of concern: 2018-19, 5% of operating expenditure was classified as unauthorized, irregular, fruitless expenditure. There was other very low expenditure on repairs and maintenance. Ideally, it should be 8% of the property, plant, and equipment budget, but in Witzenberg case, it was 1.9%, having also been very low in 2 previous years, and 2.6 in 2016-17. So let me, I'm just going to, before I continue, Becky, I just want to drop that link into the chat, because this story is done using multiple different tools. And there is the link for you. Okay.
I think the ground up story link is already in the chat. Did you want the link to the financial report?
Oh, you put it. Oh, no,
Yeah.
no, sorry.
Okay.
I didn't see that you'd put it there, Becky. I didn't realize that no flies on you. So now what I want to go to is the dashboard. Sorry, I just want to open the dashboard. My apologies about this. It was open and it seems to have dropped off.
Do you want just the main dashboard? I can put it in the chat for you if it's not coming up.
No. I'm going to put the dashboard there. I've got it. I've actually got it. Oh, I miss the days when you could sit in front of people and do training. I really do. Sorry about that. Share screen. Okay. So this is the SANEF dashboard. What I would recommend is there's another bug that's been fixed, and I've also, if you have a look, I've got loads of tabs and all that sort of thing showing. So it's best viewed F11 in a full screen. Let me just get rid of bookmarks. Okay, let's get rid of the bookmark. And I'm now going to go to Witzenberg. Now, it'll only start coming up after you've typed the first few letters. And what we are now seeing is Witzenberg is a municipality in the Cape Winelands district in the Western Cape in South Africa. So story ideas. If you have a look, and these are all the different wards, by the way, of Witzenberg. So this thing actually draws right down to ward level. So for example, so there were actually no protests in the area, but if in your area you come across, what you do is you click on the dot, you click on more info, and what you're going to get, so there was a peaceful protest there on the 16th of February. This is ACLED who has done it. So what they do is they take a news report of an incident, and a researcher with a checkbox then goes out. They classify it. They classify, was it peaceful? Was it violent? What was it about? It'll give you all the different details there. So it was a peaceful protest. That's where it was. The news source is the Argus. 16th of February 21, about 100 people gathered in front of the Wellington Magistrates Court in a demonstration against a man who allegedly killed his wife, the prior week, and gender-based violence in general. There were no fatalities, and it'll always go back to a data source. And what you can do, I'm not going to get lost in the weeds here, but you can let's take the protests away. And so how well is this area served with libraries? Look at that. There are only 2 libraries in this entire municipality. And there they are, right next door to each other. So this area is not very well served from a library point of view. So the source here, and this is the data mapper, by broad age groups. And as you break it down, it'll you can break it down by population group, by African. So there, what it's showing you is there 46.4% of the people in the municipality are Black. And sorry, in the different areas, and going by the colors, you'll be able to see where the concentrations are. Only in South Africa do we break it into color, by the way. Sorry. Bear with me a second. I'm using a scroll mouse, which is a bit of a hair trigger. But really the view that we want to see is this one on top. Let's just get it up to 100. There we are. And on elections, so voter turnout. And all the time, you will always see a box with an explainer. So the voter turnout, those who didn't vote, those who voted. I think I'm going to stop using the scroll mouse. Demographics. Now, with the, wherever possible, the tool uses the 2016 community survey. The 2011 census, so they're currently in the field with pilots for the 2021 survey census. It's a hell of a thing trying to do a census during a pandemic. But what they do is in between censuses, they do a community survey. This is what government uses for planning. Population groups. So households by income. So what you're looking at there is 6.4%. You can play around with values. You can select female, you can select male. Earn between 1 and so no income. 17.2% of the people who in that area have no income. So story, if they got no income, how are they earning a living? How are people putting bread on the table? What are they doing? So I suspect that very many of those people have got side hustles to survive. And then there's government grants. And I would reckon that anything between 4,801 and 19,200 Rand would indicate, to me, that indicates government grants are happening there. economic environment. How many people how many people are actually employed in this area? All the time, what you've got to do is you've got to select an attribute. You can select by gender. So what we've got is overall, and then you can look at male and female. And what I urge people to do with this kind of thing is when you go out to cover a story, you really need to do this research beforehand just to get an idea. So this stuff will add context to your story. You can always do a screen grab of this if you want to do any illustration in your story. We can look at education. We could look at highest education levels. And importantly here, what we can do difficulties currently facing this municipality. Alcohol abuse. So it's actually got quite a low level. And there's always the source, Stats SA. Corruption, cost of electricity, cost of water, drug abuse. We've got gangsterism. So very quickly, when you're writing about a muni, inadequate waste removal, lack of adequate employment, and so it goes. So there's some really rich data in here to play around. The video again will tell you. The video will always tell you. Go back to the video if you're having a problem. It's not a difficult tool to work. Once you're into the tool, it's not a difficult tool to work. So, sorry, what is happening? I need to just switch off this mouse. I've got a hair trigger mouse, which is messing with me. So here we are at the, just to go again. And I would urge you guys, once this thing has happened, once we finished with the training, is just go and do a search on your own municipality and enrich data as we scroll down. So there is the, or what you can do is just go to summary and you'll get them all under one. So 65% of registered voters, eligible registered voters, voted. 65%, that is the number, 83.665%. Didn't vote, 45,856 people didn't vote in the last municipal elections. Again, there is an explainer. You will always find explainers and sources on everything that you look at. Demographics, we had a look at the size of households. I want to go down to the financial stuff. Financial performance. Now, what you can do, some of you people who are on this call know how to work with data. What you can do is save the image. So let's just say select an attribute. expenditure types, selective value, unauthorized expenditure. And there's the explainer. It shows irregular, unauthorized, and wasteful expenditure as a percentage of operating expenditure. So what happened is in 2011-12 was up to 4.6. It dropped to 0, and suddenly, and by the way, the Auditor General takes anything above 0 as bad. And suddenly, almost 1% of the budget has gone to unauthorized expenditure. Again, there's the explainer. There are the years. Income sources. We were just talking about that now. So, locally generated. So Reg was talking about a city like Cape Town. If it doesn't raise enough income, it's got to put up rates. But what happens in these small little towns that don't have a rate space? They don't have a lot of residents. They don't have buildings. They can't find people. They've got no other revenues. So in Witzenberg, this is quite a well-off municipality. 85% of their budget they are generating locally. Transfers, those that is coming from the national fiscus. Now, the lower the rate space, the less opportunity to raise revenue, the higher amount the central fiscus will pay to a municipality. And a lot of these small municipalities depend very heavily on generating an income through buying bulk water and electricity and selling at a profit. Where they've got into trouble is the money has gone in and they haven't paid the service provider. That is what has happened there, is what you're seeing. A breakdown of the current debt collection. So again, this is always a very good indicator to look at. Where municipality is not collecting 100% of the revenue due to them through rates, taxes, etc., that's when they start getting into the red. Some municipalities, what you will badly run municipalities, they just don't collect money, and then suddenly what happens towards the end of the financial year, they start harassing residents, they take people to court, they do all kinds of things to get money in. Spending of the capital budget. Shows the percentage by which actual expenditure fell short of the budgeted capital income for a given financial year. Again, every time there is an explainer, spending of operating budget. So the operating is for day-to-day business of the municipality. If they're not spending, listen, if you see a municipality underspending on capital, on its capital budget, and grossly underspending, you can be guaranteed there will be potholes. Sewage is not picking up. The place where it manifests itself most visibly is in the townships. Because what municipalities also do is they keep the center of town clean and in fairly reasonable condition. So visitors to the town actually see a different picture to the lived one. Again, this is household income by male, by female. The kind of homes that people are living in. So in this municipality, Oh dear. And then very briefly, I just want to hop on. So all this stuff comes from a tool called municipal money. And this is really where you can get into the weeds. So the dashboard gives you an excellent, it gives you an excellent overview, but this is where the weeds are. Sorry, I just wanted to say, if you are doing a story and you arrive in a place and you want to know about that place, I do this when I'm traveling. It's a game. Switch on your location, use your location, and it will tell you all about the municipality in which you are, where you've stopped to put petrol as you are traveling. So, so this tool, and I'm going to whiz through it, is got all contacts for the mayor, email addresses, all the stuff that we always try to find out. All their details are there. Here is a video which explains this tool. This is all, by the way, treasury data. So all this data, if you're someone like Reg, he goes to the treasury site. He understands the treasury site. If you're not used to navigating it, this has been brought under one roof. Now, very important when you're looking at a municipality is the AG's outcome. These are all the reports. The devil in the detail. You cannot do a story about a municipality without reading the AG reports. And this again will explain to you what each one means: an unqualified opinion, qualified, adverse, etc. Now this municipality has a cash balance, had at the end of the financial year 3 million rand cash balance. And then each time, I'm not going to do it every time I go there, you can compare it to another municipality, but each time in the indicator, you will get an explanation of what the indicator means, how it's measured. And so something happened in Witzenberg. They had a 97 million rand cash balance in 2015-16, 2017-18, 2016-17, 76 million, 2017-18, 98 million. And when I see that, I want to know, there's a story. What happened? Why did that cash balance drop so dramatically? Cash coverage. So here, this is the money that they've got in the bank for day-to-day operation. That is the cash available to, them. And this is measuring the length of time in months that a municipality can pay from its day-to-day expenses using its cash reserves. Look at this. I mean, it was 29.8 months there. Suddenly it's dropped down to a month. They've underspent on their operating budget. And as we going through this, please are asked to look here. So how much municipal operating budget then was planned and budgeted for? Again, there's a story. What happened? What happened? They've certainly improved, but they've gone from the black there into the red, and then they recovered slightly. Something is happening there. The data is telling us something has happened there. We need to find out what. Now, they've overspent on their capital budget. Again, indicator, explanations. Now, if you want to know of the actual budget, if you say show calculation, I like to look at the audited actual. Oh dear. So each time, what happens with the show calculation, so guys, I'm not even going to go there. What will happen each time is when you go to the, and I'll urge you to go to the audited actual, there's a bug there. I apologize for this. We picked up this bug, and they didn't want to deploy it just before we started the training, but this will be fixed. This takes you to the actual page in the budget. You can physically see it in the budget. This municipality doesn't have great liquidity. I mean, what happened here? Something went very wrong. So this is the money. They earned rates and service charges. Something went horribly wrong there. They grossly under-collected in your municipality. When you see this, there's a story there. What happened? Why did this happen? Was there a rates boycott? Something happened here. You know, the data will tell you you've got a test. And then here, where does the municipality get its money from? Locally generated. Again, there's the guide to tell you, locally generated from the central fiscus. And then local income sources for your municipality. Rates and tax, property rates for this municipality, 69 million. Service charges, 30 million. Rental income, 5.4 million. Conditional grants, so this is where the different grants are coming from. The actual source of the grants. So planned income, there's the original budget, and they over collected on the budget there. Then 2018-19, they budgeted to collect 614.1, but they under collected 536. Again, these are all explanations for this municipality. What did where did the difference in planned income occur? So fines, naught, government transfers, licenses and permits, they under collected 2.5. Property rates, they under collected 18 million rand. Service charges, they under collected 112 million. This is what this municipality is spending its money on. 28.1% is going on salaries, and 8% is going to contractor services, consultants, etc. And then finally, there's always stories in this. This should actually be throwing up. Okay, so sorry guys, there's embedded data that should be thrown up. But look at electricity that Reg was talking about. It dropped back, it went up, and then this is their revenue. They're spending very little on community and social services. Look at public safety, how little they are spending. They're spending almost as much on sport and recreation, waste management, water, etc. And again, as you go through this will show you who is paying it. So affordable range is kind of the middle. You've got the indigent. So that is a category. You've got indigent receiving assistance. And again, about this indicator, go and have a look there. It's going to explain to you. And each time you've seen this, each one of these is going to set off a story. Who's carrying the burden of rates in your area? This just shows you monthly bills for affordable income over time. You can see how they're rising. Everything is going up and up and up and up. For indigents, and then right at the very end, there are some excellent resources here. This, by the way, this 1 million bags of R1 million is a really good video which simplifies audit outcomes. But as you're going through these things, each time, how did it happen? Who did it affect? Why did it happen? And you've got the explainers. And I urge you at the end of this, when you've got a bit of time, go to your own municipality. Start on the dashboard, move into Muni Money. You will find things about your municipality that you didn't know. And then the final thing that I do want to say is very often people say, well, the data is wrong because I live in that area and I don't see, that's not like that. Well, you live in a part of the area where it's not happening. You know, the data is not lying. All the data is doing is like you need to document, you've got a source, they tell you something, you then start fact checking it, you go in the field to report it. Thanks, Becky.